The story starts with a Korean web novel titled 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse. This wasn't a normal novel. It had been running continuously for almost 10 years and contained over 3,000 chapters. At first, many readers followed it, but as time passed, the story became too long and complicated. Slowly, readers began dropping out until only one single reader remained. That final reader was Kim Dokcha. Dokcha was an ordinary man who lived a lonely life. From middle school all the way to adulthood, whenever he faced problems, whether it was bullying at school, struggles in college, or stress at work, this novel was always there for him. The story he loved followed a hero named Yoo Jung-hyuk, a man who possessed the ability of regression. Every time Jung-hyuk died, he could return to the past, using his memories to try again and prevent the destruction of the world. Dokcha admired him deeply. Watching Jung-hyuk fight again and again gave Dokcha the strength to survive his own dull and painful life. One evening, while returning home from work on the subway, Dokcha finally read the last chapter of the novel. The ending crushed him. Jung-hyuk was the only survivor. Everyone else had died. Angry and disappointed, Dokcha left a comment for the author, criticizing the ending and calling it terrible. To his surprise, the author replied. The author thanked him and said, "You were the only reason I could finish this story. If you didn't like the ending, then write it yourself." Dokcha didn't understand what that meant, but at exactly 7 p.m., the subway suddenly shook violently. The lights flickered, and all phone signals disappeared. Then a strange announcement echoed through the train. The free service of the planetary system has ended. Paid service will now begin. Everyone panicked. Suddenly, a small floating creature appeared in the air. It introduced itself as a dogebi. Because Dokcha had read the novel, he immediately recognized it. The dogebi announced that their peaceful lives were over and that they must now prove their value to survive. Most passengers laughed, thinking it was a joke, until the creature blew a man's head apart right in front of everyone. Chaos erupted. Then the dogebi announced the first scenario. Within 10 minutes, everyone must kill any living organism. Fail and you die. Fear instantly spread. Some people froze, while others began attacking each other in desperation. But Dokcha remained calm. He knew this scene perfectly. It was exactly how the novel began. He also knew an important detail. The mission didn't require killing humans. Dokcha noticed a child carrying a box filled with ants. He quickly took one and crushed an ant. He even handed another ant to his coworker so he could do the same. Because Dokcha completed the mission first, an announcement declared that he had received 300 coins. Coins were the most important currency in this world. They could be used to buy strength, skills, and items needed to survive. At that moment, Dokcha saw a violent young man attacking an elderly woman. He immediately recognized him, Il-young Hyun-san, a cruel character from the novel. Dokcha wanted to help the woman, but he knew he wasn't strong enough. Then he remembered something crucial. In this world, power could be purchased. He opened his status window and spent his coins to increase his strength. His body suddenly felt lighter and unbelievably powerful. Using this new strength, Dokcha defeated the attacker brutally. Then he tried to help the old woman complete the mission by placing an insect in her hand, but she couldn't bring herself to kill it, so Dokcha did it himself. As the timer hit 0, the scenario ended. Most of the passengers were dead. The subway was filled with corpses. Looking around at the carnage, Dokcha coldly remarked that the beings watching from the stars, treating this like entertainment, must be enjoying the show. Soon after, the train stopped near a bridge. Suddenly, a massive monster burst out from the water and destroyed the bridge. People fell and died instantly. However, Dokcha grabbed a young girl and escaped with a small group of survivors running across the broken bridge. Just when they thought they were safe, another horror appeared. The people who had died earlier rose again, now chasing them like zombies. Just as all hope seemed lost, Dokcha looked back. Standing there was Yoo Jung-hyuk himself. Effortlessly, Jung-hyuk slaughtered the zombies. When he noticed Dokcha and the others alive, he froze in shock. As a regressor who remembered every timeline, Jung-hyuk had never seen anyone escape that subway before. And that's when he realized this world was no longer following the story he knew. Jung-hyuk grabbed Dokcha and hung him upside down from the broken bridge. Below them, the giant monster opened its massive jaws, waiting to devour him. Jung-hyuk stared at Dokcha and asked coldly, "Who are you, and how did you survive?" Dokcha knew he couldn't reveal the truth, that he was a reader who came from outside the novel, so he lied. He said he possessed the ability to see the future, and that was how he had stayed alive so far. Then Dokcha added calmly, "If that's true, then you should be able to defeat this monster using your own power." The moment he finished speaking, Jung-hyuk let go. Dokcha fell straight into the monster's mouth and was swallowed whole. Inside its stomach, there was nothing but darkness. Soon, the acid began to burn his body, slowly melting his flesh. But Dokcha didn't panic. He knew a hidden system existed. He contacted it and said, "I know you have a streamer who's desperate for good content. I'll turn this moment into something so exciting that viewers won't be able to look away. Coins will rain non-stop on your channel." In return, Dokcha demanded a share of the profits. After some hesitation, the system agreed. Dokcha immediately received coins and used them to purchase a thorn-type weapon. With it, he attacked from inside and killed the monster. Moments later, Dokcha crawled out from the creature's corpse, alive. Not only had he survived, but he also gained a massive amount of coins and several rare items. Using the Dogebi creator as the middleman, Dokcha traded his special rewards and obtained Ether of Faith, an item he knew would become extremely important later. He then acquired a mask to hide his identity and headed towards the nearest safe station. On the way, he witnessed a group of thugs attacking a young girl. Dokcha immediately recognized her. She was a character who originally died early in the novel. This time, Dokcha chose to change the story. Using his newly gained power, he defeated the attackers and saved her life. Grateful for her life, Hee-won decided to travel with Dokcha. Together, they reached a station filled with survivors. However, Dokcha quickly realized that the man managing the station was corrupt. On the surface, he acted like a savior, but in reality, he exploited people. Weak survivors were sold as bait for monsters, and he earned coins from their deaths. Dokcha confirmed his suspicion when the man tried to befriend him and suggested pooling their coins. When Dokcha refused, the survivors began calling him selfish. Dokcha ignored their judgment. He knew that breaking this system was the only way to save everyone. He told them clearly, "I won't give you my coins, but I'll clear the tunnel that leads to the next scenario." Dokcha then formed a small team. It included a former soldier, Hee-won, his co-worker, and the young boy who once carried ants, the child who could communicate with insects. Dokcha knew that ability would be valuable. They entered the underground tunnel, where they encountered a terrifying monster known as the ground rat, a demon-like creature. The battle was brutal. The monster released poisonous gas that trapped everyone in hallucinations, forcing them to relive their most painful memories. The soldiers saw visions of comrades he failed to save. Others froze in fear, haunted by their past. Dokcha alone remained unaffected. Thanks to his skill, Fourth Wall, his mind was shielded from emotional interference. Regaining control, he shouted loudly, snapping everyone out of the illusion. Once they recovered, the team counterattacked. Dokcha purchased White Star Pure Energy, causing his weapon to glow brilliantly. Together with Hee-won, they struck down the monster. After the battle, they discovered a reward chest filled with weapons. Everyone chose their gear. Dokcha picked up a broken sword, which others mocked as useless, but Dokcha smiled. This was exactly why he had obtained Ether of Faith. The moment he infused it with Ether of Faith, it transformed into a blade of light, unbreakable and impossible to escape once targeted. Returning to the station, Dokcha exposed the corrupt leader's crimes to everyone. Yvonne, who had suffered under his rule, was consumed by rage and justice. She killed the corrupt man and freed the survivors. But there was no time to rest. They had to move to the next station, Chunmuro, to continue the main scenario. When they arrived, the situation was far worse. This area was a green zone scenario. At night, survival was only possible inside green-marked squares, but there were too many people and few green zones. A strange man had taken control of most green areas, renting them out in exchange for coins.